These people noticed them coming as Kaze was not that quiet. They immediately raised their weapon. Melee! Sophia yelled. Woof! Leave it to me. Bang! 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 The bullet was stopped with the wind wall, unable to move in the slightest bit. Before these people could react, Stephen had already started chanting. I am the woods, the pillar of growth. Let the wood grow even more vigorously and entangle the enemy in front of me. Tangled roots. Swoosh! The roots from the ground grew rapidly, entangling these people's legs and trapped them in an instant. Ah! Let me go! Stephen didn't stop as he raised his gun and started shooting. Bang! 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 Sophia looked at this messy scene in front of her and frowned slightly. She didn't like the fact that they were killing humans instead of magic beasts, but she restrained the disgusts and discomfort in her heart. No matter what, they knew that it was impossible to keep their hands clean when these people were attacking them like this. If they wanted to survive, they had to raise their weapon. Swish! It's done, Stephen said and lightly patted Sophia's head. He chose to be the attacker because he knew very well that his sister might not be able to accept that they were attacking humans instead of magic beasts. Various conflicts had happened all over the world, but most of them were humans against the magic beasts. Even if there were conflicts between humans, only some of them resulted in deaths. And these happened far away from them. People in City A base was too well protected. They might have been exposed to some darkness because it was inevitable, but in the end, they were still very restrained due to the rules and regulation in that place. But over here, many people were willing to kill people for the sake of a small bread or even a glass of water, because they wanted to live. And killing people for the sake of resources was extremely common now. I'm fine, Sophia said and pursed her lips. She did feel discomfort for this matter, but she would not let such a matter stop or hinder her. No matter what, she had promised herself that she would not be the person who will delay the group. Besides, to an extent, she didn't actually have to do anything herself. The one who did it were her pets. They were the one who took her place when taking action against the magic beasts and other people. Boom! The loud explosion startled the two of them. That's where Arnold is. Stephen frowned. Let's go there. Sophia quickly patted Kaze to make it go faster. If Arnold and Amelia were not careful enough, they might be in danger. Bang! 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 Amidst series of gunshots, Arnold and Amelia were more or less fine. Arnold tossed several bombs to the people who surrounded them, leaving them with either heavy injuries or dead. After a while, Arnold heaved a sigh of relief. It's clear. Is it over? Amelia asked. Her tone was filled with disbelief. Was it so easy for them to deal with you? Even though so many people died, it did feel a bit fast. There was no time for Ruben to make a move. Well, in the first place, Ruben was not suitable for any close combat or anything like that. After all, he was a magician and also a Runemaster. He stayed the furthest away from them, monitoring the situation and will help if necessary. If it was not necessary, Ruben will not come in the slightest bit. Bang! A bullet was blocked by the counterattack shield and Amelia frowned as she looked at the distance. A second sniper? I have never heard of powerful sniper from yours group. Arnold also frowned. It was not so easy to train a sniper outside the military or some organization. After all, the resources needed to train was huge and they also needed a large area for practice. Even if some mercenaries were good at sniping, their range was limited. Arnold recalled the information that Ruben and Stephen had searched and did find that there were some new names. But these two people were unable to make a profile or something like that because the information they could access was limited. These things might require internet to use and the current database was a bit, well, half broken. The earthquake had destroyed many places and it was unreasonable to hope that many areas were still intact like before. Swish! Bang! Another bullet came and this time it was Arnold who blocked it. He looked at the direction and frowned slightly. Come over here. Huh? Amelia felt that Arnold was planning something, but she didn't say anything and continued to run behind the other party. She took out her phone and called Ruben. Do you need me to deal with the second sniper? Ruben's voice came from the phone first right after it was connected. I want to ask you how Sean is. He's busy beating up someone. That sniper has a bodyguard protecting him and Sean is fighting against the other party, Ruben replied. He didn't look like he needs help, though. Sean was a rank 3 magic warrior. Unless the opponent was a rank 4 profession, then he should be able to deal with him. Okay. Do you need me to deal with the second sniper? Are you near? No. Then wait. Amelia then cut off the phone. Ruben? He looked at the phone in his hand speechlessly and simply sat down while playing with a few magic scrolls that he had prepared. Bang! Another bullet chased behind them and both Arnold and Amelia continued to run across the street. Amelia looked at the route in front of her and yelled, "He's guiding the direction. Get down." Boom! A large explosion took place on the street. Many people heard it, but no one came any closer. In this chaotic world, they have already seen various battles that occurred every single day. Even if they wanted to care, they didn't have the energy to do so. The most important thing for them was their own survival. Other things were not as important. Arnold. Amelia. Bang. Sean kicked off the bodyguard from the tall building and looked down at the explosion in the distance. Thinking that he himself was weaker than these two people, he restrained his impulse of getting over to help them and continued to climb up. The sniper was still there, and after this one, he still has the second sniper to deal with. Damn it! Bang! Bang! The moment the door opened, the man quickly shot Sean, but the other party dodged immediately. Bullet was indeed fast, but compared to some magic beasts that could attack at sound speed, it was really nothing much. Having fought with many magic beasts, Sean's past experience came handy at this moment. He saw the man in front of him and quickly raised his hand to use the magic spell that Samuel taught him. Bang! Bang! Series of explosion followed. While Sean was busy on the room where the sniper was located, Amelia looked around her and quickly called out, "Arnold! Where are you?" Cough. "I'm over here." Arnold waved his hand. A transparent shield was formed around him, protecting his body when the explosion happened. Even though his current situation was not very good, but it was not the worst situation. He reacted in time and made a shield to protect himself, saving himself from the worst situation where he might die at any time. Still, it was not really a good feeling to be so close to the explosion site. "Do you know that they're trying to lure us here?" Amelia asked. Her tone was really angry. At the last moment before there was an explosion, she had the feeling that these two snipers were not trying to kill them but to lure them somewhere. After the explosion happened, she was sure of this guest. "Ah, I know," Arnold replied and then looked at the distance. "And he's also here to greet us." Amelia's expressions changed and she quickly raised the sword in her hand, ready to attack when it was necessary. Not far from them, on top of a 2-story building, a group of people were standing. There was a small platform in front of them that could help cover their bodies in case someone wanted to shoot them, but the two people could still see them clearly. "That's you're," Arnold replied. "He likes to set up trap to bomb his target, so I come into his trap on purpose." "Why?" "Because this is the only chance for me to see him," Arnold replied. In the past, Ur would use live broadcast method to watch his work from a distance, keeping a safe distance from the site in fear that he would be accidentally implicated. But right now, the live broadcast was not so easy to do. While internet could be used again through the use of the satellite and so on, but the live broadcast was limited for the government and the officials for the time being. They couldn't let ordinary people use the live broadcast function yet. Of course, they could still upload video and watch them, but no live broadcast aside from the officials. Knowing this, Arnold decided to take a bet by following the trap that Ur had set up so that he could see the other party. Then, "I'll deal with him." Arnold narrowed his eyes. "He's also a magic warrior rank 4. "Huh!" Amelia was stunned, but Arnold had already dashed forward. Bang! 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 The other people around Ur tried to shoot Arnold, but he avoided all of them. Ur looked at this mess and snorted. "Guns and the likes wouldn't work anymore against people like us. You deal with that woman and I'll deal with him." "Yes." Swish! Bang! Mana surged on the two people and what followed was loud explosion from their clash. Amelia ran from the other side, keeping her distance with Arnold, and made her way to the building. Seeing these people, there was a faint annoyance within her heart. The next moment, the mana within her body exploded and she pointed her sword forward. I'm the embodiment of wind. Let the sharp wind materialize into my sword and strike the enemy in front of me. Rapid wind strike. Swish. Slash. Slash. Countless wind blades appeared in front of Amelia, following her sword's movement and headed straight towards the group of people in the distance. Ah! Gah! Thud. Bang. Some of them died on the spot and some others fell down from the roof. Amelia took a deep breath and took out the magic scroll that Reuben prepared for them. It was a backup magic scroll in case they ran out of mana. After all, Magic Warriors' mans was limited, and if they were to fight for a long time, there was a great chance that they might run out of mana before the battle was over. Turning her head to the side, Amelia frowned slightly as she watched the battle between Arnold and Yer. Bang! 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 Heh! You're really lucky, Arnold. I can say the same to you, Yer, Arnold replied while parrying the attack from Yer. He could sense that Yer seemed to be trying to fight until the very end. What do you actually want from me? Your group's development was going well, and there's no way you would want to abandon everything just for the sake of petty revenge. It just doesn't make sense. Heh! Yer looked at Arnold in front of him as he held his hand in front of him. He's coming back. Who? The Grim Reaper, Nicholas Ramsey. No way. Boom. Arnold. Amelia yelled when she saw the explosion and rushed forward, regardless of everything, while throwing the magic scroll in her hand. A shield was formed and immediately broke after withstood the power of the explosion. Thud. A body crashed onto Amelia and she almost cursed it out loud because of how heavy it is. A magic warrior's body was heavier than ordinary people, and right now, Amelia was almost out of strength. Arnold. Arnold. Cough. It's Brother Arnold for you? Arnold's voice came from in front of her, and Amelia wanted to roll her eyes. Who in their right mind would be thinking about this kind of thing at such time? Are you all right? Cough, cough. Arnold sat up and nodded. He took out a healing magic scroll and tore it to activate it while looking in the direction where the crater was located. At that last moment, Yer exploded himself. That kind of self-destruct mentality should not have appeared on such a person. Brother Arnold? Who's Nicholas Ramsey? Amelia asked in a low voice. She could hear their last conversation, so she was curious. He's my brother. But he should have died a long time ago. Arnold's face was not very good when he talked about this matter. He sighed and patted Amelia's head. Let's go back before more magic beasts coming. Ah! Amelia looked at the distance and saw that a large number of magic beasts were rushing in their direction. Her expression changed and she quickly propped Arnold's body and started running. Why the hell are these magic beasts here? Yer should have used something to lure these magic beasts over. Is this the time to laugh? Ah! The two people were running wildly, and Sean, who finally killed the sniper, was also stunned when he saw a large number of magic beasts coming over. Even though they were not weak, but they definitely didn't want to experience another magic beast's tide. Without hesitation, Sean quickly ran down and planned to run away from this building at the fastest speed possible. He didn't want to be trapped in some kind of building without being able to come back. Bang! 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 Fighting against the magic beasts while rushing over to City I base, the six of them groped together again. Seeing Arnold and Amelia, who looked like they were about to die, Sophia let them ride Kaze along with her. It was a bit cramped for three people to ride together, but it was better than nothing. Stephen unfortunately had to run because there was not enough space for him. A magician shouldn't have been asked to run. Stephen protested as they were approaching City I base's gate. You're still energetic enough to be able to shout. Arnold sneered. Tisk. Stephen clicked his tongue and looked at Arnold, who looked weak. What happened to you? Does the healing magic scroll not enough? No, I need to go to the hospital, Arnold replied. The healing magic scroll that Reuben made was still very limited. It could heal ordinary injuries and wounds without any problem. But if their problem included internal bleeding or something even more serious, then they still have to go to the hospital. That's what you get from being bombed twice. Amelia said with annoyance. Did he not know how to keep his distance? At the last moment, he was still very close to the center of the explosion. Ah! You be asterisk starred. If you can't get up later, I'll tell my brother to lock you up. I didn't know you liked such a thing, Mel. Huh? What are you thinking in your mind? Sophia didn't know whether to laugh or get angry at these two people arguing behind her like this. She looked at her brother, who was trying hard to keep up with their speed through the use of magic. For Amelia to be able to call Arnold a bastard is definitely an improvement, Sophia said slowly. Stephen nodded in agreement. Sean and Reuben only rolled their eyes. They felt that with the filter that Amelia had for Arnold was a bit too thick and they could never understand. So for Amelia to scold Arnold, they felt that it was refreshing instead of strange. Because this meant that Amelia's filter for Arnold was slowly getting corrected. Well, probably a bit. I'm not that heavily injured and I'll be fine after a while. Heh. Next time you want to bomb yourself, I'll tell my brother to let you experience what it feels to be electrocuted. Amelia yelled. Arnold looked at the angry Amelia and felt that no matter what he said, she will call Samuel the next moment to beat him up. Well, he knew that he's wrong. So don't call Samuel. Okay? Just as Arnold was thinking how to coax Amelia, the horse stopped at the gate. Anyway, we're here and you two go to the hospital. Sean yelled to these two people and then added, we still have to clean up some annoying magic beasts that followed us. A group of magic beasts were chasing behind them and there were also other people who fought against them. It was clear that many people saw these magic beasts and managed to run away. Some of them who couldn't run away were staying behind and hiding somewhere. Okay. Arnold and Amelia didn't delay and jumped down the horse. But as he stepped down, Arnold could feel pain from his stomach and chest. He coughed and almost fell down. Amelia quickly grabbed Arnold and then pulled him in the direction of the hospital. Damn it! There better be a doctor as good as Jean here. Reuben, do you have more healing magic scroll? Swish! Reuben tossed 2 more healing magic scroll and said, if his injury is too serious, these wouldn't be able to help much. I know. Thanks. Seeing these 2 people left, Reuben shook his head and looked at the magic beasts coming to them. Mini magic beasts tied? Mini magic beasts tied? Sean repeated and rolled his eyes. I think it's more appropriate to say that a small group of magic beasts coming over. There are only around 30 or so magic beasts coming. Did you count it? Sophia asked curiously as she released Akira, her lightning bird, to let it rest on her shoulder. Well, the number is more or less that many, Stephen said as he also looked at the distance. The corner of his mouth curled up. Let me control their movements. What? I am the woods, the pillar of growth. Let the wood grow even more vigorously and entangle the enemy in front of me. Tangled roots. Before these magic beasts could come closer to them, roots grew up from the grounds and grabbed their legs. Despite their small size, these roots were extremely strong and these magic beasts were unable to move forward. But Stephen's mana was limited, so he couldn't deal with so many magic beasts all at once. Only a few magic beasts at the forefront that was affected. Bang! 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 What followed was series of gunshots from Stephen, who used the gun that Ria gave to him. This gun has become his main weapon. Be careful that you will run out of use, Reuben complained and then started chanting. I am the devourer of the darkness. May the darkness come forth and halt the movement of my enemies. Dark swamp trap. Swoosh. Dark swamp spread out and the second line of the magic beasts were trapped one after another, unable to move forward. The methods of trapping was different, but the result was similar. Akira! Sophia yelled. BZZT. Pong! Bang! Bang! One after another, these magic beasts were killed by the lightning strike from Akira. Only half are left, Stephen said as he looked at the magic beasts that came over while the dark swamp slowly disappeared. These roots and the swamps were the product of magic and could only come to the being through the use of mana. When the mana supply was cut off, they would disappear. My turn, Sophia said and started to chant. I am the woods, the pillar of growth. Let the wood grow even more vigorously and entangle the enemy in front of me. tangled roots. Once again, the roots came out and tangled these magic beasts. Swish, slash, slash. This time, it was Sean who came forward and killed these magic beasts with his sword. The fire element coated his sword, leaving out scorched magic beasts' corpses. Done, Sean yelled. The last few can be given to others, Stephen said and then chanted. I'm the woods, the pillar of growth. Let the wood grow in front of me and protect me tightly. Wood wall. A wall of wood appeared in front of them, blocking these magic beasts from coming any closer. Sean, who was at the forefront, almost got hit by the wall and yelled, Hey, pay attention to where you use your magic. Sorry. I forgot you're there. Ha ha ha. Reuben, don't laugh. Sophia looked at this group of people who was about to fight and simply collected the magic beasts' corpses first into the space storage scroll before they entered the city. There were only a few magic beasts left, and it could be left to other hunters out there. Anyway, the strongest was only a rank 3 magic beast. Tisk. Sean clicked his tongue and then waved his hand. I'm going to check on my sister. If there are more magic beasts, tell me. I don't think you have more mana to fight, Sean, Reuben said earnestly. After all, Sean has been fighting for a long time. Moreover, Sean's magic element was fire, and it was most suitable for offense and not anything else. I'm fine. Sean yelled that before he disappeared across the corner. Leave him be. Stephen patted Kaze's head. Let's go back and rest first. We used up quite a lot of mana just now. Yes. Reuben yawned and then walked forward by himself. Sophia looked at Reuben, who was going away, before turning her head to look at her brother. Brother? Who's Nicholas Ramsey? Stephen stopped his movement and turned to look at Sophia. Where did you hear this name? Amelia. She showed her phone that was in the state of ongoing call until a while ago. At that last moment before the second explosion, Amelia was calling Sophia to ask her whereabouts. Thanks to that, Sophia heard the conversation between Arnold and Ur. Stephen pursed his lips and said, He's a madman, but he's also Arnold's brother. Brother? Isn't his name Arnold Shade Sibley? Different surname? His parents divorced when he's young. He followed his father's surname while his brother followed his mother's surname, Stephen explained. As for what happened afterwards, Stephen didn't really want to talk about it because it was Arnold's privacy and not really his place to talk about. Sophia nodded as she continued to ride on Kaze. Is he alive? I don't know. Huh. He's also a mercenary like Arnold. Well, their family is quite messed up, if I have to say. Stephen sighed. The two children followed different parent, but their ending was the same, to use their skills to fight on the front line as a mercenary. As for why they didn't use other methods, it was obviously because they needed a large amount of money. For them, there were not many options they could pick to get a lot of money. Being a mercenary was only one of them. At the very least, they didn't end up in the situation where they would be completely desperate. Stephen hadn't heard about Nicholas for a long time, so he was not sure about the other party's situation. Arnold said that Nicholas had passed away, but Stephen felt that Nicholas would not die so easily. They all have met with Nicholas when they were younger. That young man was not the type of person who would die so easily. Sophia looked at her brother blankly. If you're talking about messed up family, the Carson family is not much better. It was a family where the people could even kill each other, even if it was through indirect moves. After all, for the sake of power and so on, they would not hesitate to put down other people. Stephen was silent. It was true. The siblings were walking back to their temporary residence, each with their own thoughts. Sophia was still riding on Kaze while Stephen was walking beside her. Sophia, have you ever thought of leaving the Carson family? Stephen suddenly asked. Sophia's mind, that was half thinking about Nicholas and half thinking about her own family, instantly come back. She turned to look at her brother. Are you crazy? If old Master Carson heard Stephen's words, there was no doubt that he would definitely come and make them suffer. There were more than 1001 ways for him to control them and to make sure they would listen to him. The Carson family was still firmly held in old Master Carson's hand. I'm not, Stephen said calmly. Father is weak and he will listen to Grandpa's words no matter what, but I don't want to. Their father did try to protect them over the years, but at the same time, he's also a filial child who wanted to listen to his father's words. This was something that Stephen had realized for a long time and didn't know what to say. After all, the relationship between old Master Carson and his father is closer. He couldn't really say anything to his father about this matter. But Sophia is different. I know you have some ideas on your own, but I don't have such plan, Sophia replied in a low voice. Father will be sad. If the two of them truly stood on the opposite side of the Carson family, the one who suffered the most was definitely their father. Sophia knew how much her father and brother loved and take care of her ever since she was young, so she didn't want either of them to get hurt. The two of them were important family members for her. If she had to see them sad and hurt, Sophia felt that she couldn't bear it either. Even though she couldn't do much, she hoped that they would always be fine. Stephen looked at his sister's profile and was silent for a moment before saying, I understand. Don't make the decision for your life based on my decision. I'm not a flower in a greenhouse, brother. The two siblings were looking at each other. At this moment, Stephen could see the solemnness within Sophia's eyes along with the determination within her eyes. She might be weak, she might not be the best, but she has her own way to live her life. The world had changed and she was no longer letting herself stay in the safest place like the greenhouse. The flower was brought outside to face the sun and rain, blooming amidst the harsh weather outside. No, the weather was still well controlled and there were still rocks and other plants protecting it. But it was no longer as tightly as it used to be. It has the strength to bloom even if it was not so tightly protected. You're right. Stephen smiled faintly. His sister had grown up. To be honest, Stephen didn't really like seeing his sister like this. He could still remember the little girl who used to follow him from behind and often made a lot of troubles for him behind his back. It was him who helped to clean up her messes. But now, this girl is telling him that she didn't need him to continue covering up for her all the time. She could take care of herself. But I'll still take care of you as much as possible, Stephen said without hesitation. No matter what, he didn't want to lose the privilege to love and care for his sister. Until the time when they walked a completely different path, he will continue to be her brother and took care of her as much as possible. Sophia blinked her eyes and lowered her head. Don't be so hard on yourself, brother. I want you to live a good life too. Stephen chuckled. Don't worry, I won't wrong myself. He knew how to take care of himself and will not make things difficult for him. Good. The two siblings came to an agreement with each other. As for the Carson family, that was something for them to deal with later. But for now, they didn't want to worry about it. While Stephen and Sophia were talking with each other on their way back, Amelia basically dragged Arnold to the hospital and let the doctor treat him. After seeing his condition, the doctor brought him to the emergency room. Magic warriors' bodies were still the same as ordinary human beings. They were just stronger and more resilient, which was caused by their training and so on. In addition, they have mana in their body that would allow them to use various magical power. But this didn't mean that they would not die. They were still ordinary human beings and had human bodies with its limitation and so on. Amelia herself was dragged to be treated by the doctor. She didn't realize that she herself was hurt by some scratches and burned due to the explosion. Arnold was close to the center of the explosion while Amelia herself was at the periphery. While the distance did give some leverage, it didn't mean that she was completely unscathed. Doctor, I can use healing magic scroll, Amelia said when she saw the band-aid given by the doctor. It's better not to misuse the healing magic scroll. The doctor looked at Amelia blankly. There's a research that said that it's best for humans not to use the healing magic scroll too much because it will make them dependent on magic. Dependent on magic? Amelia blinked her eyes, not quite sure about it. After all, magic has only appeared on the green planet for a short period of time, and there were not many people who had extensive knowledge of it. If there were people who knew more about these, it would be those returnees. But each of them had their own specialties, and Amelia had the feeling that neither Ria or Samuel had extensive knowledge about the effect of mana in humans' body. Well, I see. Amelia looked at the mirror in front of her and saw that a band-aid was stuck on her cheek. There was a glass shard that passed by after the counterattack shield was shattered. The injury was small, though, so Amelia didn't have much concern. She just felt that she looked a bit strange. Take some rest. There are many people who have changed profession who are busy all day long. It seems as if they didn't care about their lives and death, the doctor said while mumbling under his breath. It seemed that he was cursing these people who didn't know how to take care of themselves. Amelia was silent and could only show a weak smile. Well, she couldn't really say anything about it. The term changing profession might have been taken from games since they did have to pick a profession when they started training. Either to become a warrior, magic warrior, or magicians. It was up to them. Even though they could switch from one profession to another before reaching rank 6, but not many people wanted to waste their time practicing without result. Only those under rank 1 would try each path to see which one was the best for them. After they had some strength, these people naturally started hunting magic beasts on their own. Because if they didn't try to get more resources on their own, it was estimated that they would not be able to survive. For example, a warrior required a lot of magic beasts' meat and mana for their training. If they only worked ordinary jobs that the base offered to them, it was estimated that they would end up starving to death. So it was inevitable for them to go out and hunt these magic beasts. As for how long this will last, Amelia didn't know. That ant nest from before had already told her that the magic beasts were slowly turning the green planet into their habitat. There might be places where these magic beasts were growing and reproduce. No matter what, it was unlikely for these magic beasts to disappear anytime soon. Amelia saw that the emergency room's light was turned off and she quickly stepped forward. Doctor, how's Brother Arnold? Don't worry, he's fine. The doctor looked helpless. Since he's a magic warrior, tell him to replenish his energy and mana quickly to help him speed up his recovery. The doctors in various bases have already come into contact with these people with special professions. They knew that these people couldn't be calculated based on their previous standard and had to use a completely different standard. Unlike ordinary patients who needed to eat light food, they needed a large amount of food instead. I know, doctor. Amelia looked a bit helpless. She thought about her younger brother who had fire element and felt that she should kidnap him to help her cook some food. After all, her own element was wind and lightning, which had nothing to do with cooking. Or, should she learn to cook with lightning? Amelia felt that she would end up roasting the entire meat until it was scorched instead of cooking properly. Well, forget it for now. Arnold was brought to a VIP ward, which Amelia paid for. Since they were planning to stay in City I base temporarily, they also had an ID card of this base and had sufficient contribution points. These contribution points would be used when they needed to buy some things from the base. For these rich people, the things they traded out were nothing much. But the people in City I base would be very happy to receive it. Brother Arnold, do you bring portable kitchen? Amelia asked when she saw that Arnold was not sleeping and only lying down on the bed. Arnold sighed and took out a space storage scroll before taking out a portable stove. I think you mean portable stove. You can't exactly take kitchen around. Ah! Amelia laughed dryly and simply took the rank 4 magic beast's meat along with a pot to start cooking. She didn't have much talent in cooking, but making a soup was still possible. After all, it was not that difficult. Brother Arnold. MHM? Who's Nicholas Ramsey? Amelia asked while waiting for the food to be cooked. Arnold frowned for a moment before sighing. When Nicholas was present in the past, Amelia was not there, so she had never met with the other party. But he contemplated whether to tell Amelia about this brother of his. Nicholas has always been an unpredictable person, and Arnold felt that nothing good would happen whenever he was around. Yet at the same time, Arnold didn't want to lie to Amelia. If it's not convenient to say, you don't have to say anything, Brother Arnold, Amelia quickly said. I don't want to make you think that you have to answer. There's nothing hidden. Your own brother also knows about him. Arnold rubbed his head and sighed. Well, he's my younger brother. We have different surname because of my parents' divorce back then. I think you should know that my parents are divorced, right? Amelia nodded. She heard about it during the conversation with Samuel and the others when they were younger. Though the young her never understood the meaning of the word divorce until she was older. After all, Amelia didn't really have IQ that far surpassed her peers or anything like that. Well, Arnold thought for a moment before he said, "Even though we're brothers, we hadn't seen each other for a long time after our parents' separation. The family was broken up and there was really no reason for them to see each other. In fact, they did contact each other for a while when they were young, but later on, their parents made them unable to contact each other. Those days could be said to be nightmare for Arnold. He didn't know what happened to Nicholas until he met the other party when he was staying on the border. Their parents were really irresponsible. It was really hard for them to be able to survive for such a long time. Neither of our parents are the best at raising children. They only care about their own satisfaction and basically let us to grow on our own. Their personality is also clashing and I don't understand how they can get together in the beginning," Arnold said with a bitter smile. He didn't say things clearly, but Amelia could imagine it. She frowned and stretched her hand tentatively to hold Arnold's hand. Arnold looked up and saw the concern in Amelia's eyes. He gave a soothing smile as he squeezed her hand, trying to make her feel more comfortable and to tell her that he was fine. When he decided to become a mercenary, he was prepared to live a hard life. And if Arnold had to say, it was not much more difficult compared to the life when he was with his father. He didn't know how his younger brother was doing under their mother. But when he saw Nicholas on that border, he realized that their mother was not much better than their father. The two of them never thought about raising children. Perhaps children were nothing more than burden for them. Anyway, Nicholas is also a mercenary and we reunited on the border. Since we don't have any conflicts or anything like that, we stayed in a group for a few years. Arnold started his story. Nicholas is a completely different person from me. He's very irritable and didn't like others going against him. There are many times when he was detained for fighting and drinking, but nothing is too bad. After all, that's the border and the security is not very strict. There are people from all walks of life there, and many people who lived in the gray area existed. Amelia blinked her eyes. She had never known that the border was so complicated. Considering that she has been protected so well by the Jones family behind her, it seemed that she did miss many things. But it was fine, because Amelia felt that her family is the best. She loved them very much and was thankful for their care over the years. If she was given the choice, she would never want to trade them for anyone else. We have conflict with Ur and well, Nicholas nearly killed him during one conflict. Since then, Ur didn't dare to come any closer, Arnold said in helpless tone. Nicholas never thought about the consequences after fighting and could be said to be extremely unrestrained. No one could control him and many people tried to stay far away from him. They didn't dare to come any closer in fear that they would provoke him. So the reason why Ur comes to you is because he felt that he will not have any chance if he didn't do it? Amelia asked with difficulty. The hatred between the two people had existed for a long time, but it was triggered when Ur found out that Nicholas was chasing after him. Or perhaps something like that. It should be like that, but I haven't heard from him for a few years, Arnold replied helplessly. We took separate missions once and then we lost contact. The place where he took a mission on had a big bombing case and it said that no one survived, so many people believed that he had died. Even Arnold himself thought that way. Because if Nicholas was still alive, why did that B** star didn't contact him in the slightest bit? Thinking about that, Arnold felt that his fists were a bit itchy. He really wanted to beat up his younger brother. But that would have to wait until he had the chance to meet Nicholas again. I see. Amelia nodded in understanding after hearing the ins and out about this matter. Did he really come to chase after you? I doubt it, Arnold said slowly. Even though he's a bit vengeful, but I don't think he will purposely chase after you after such a long time. You might have heard some bad rumors and become afraid. That man was simply too paranoid. That was what Arnold was thinking. As much as he would like to see his younger brother again, Arnold didn't want to raise unreasonable hope for this matter. It would be good if Nicholas is still alive and well out there, but if he did have passed away many years ago, then there was nothing that he could say. He will just remember the other party in his memory and that would be good enough. Amelia sighed as she stirred the meat soup in front of her. Give me the food. It's not done yet. I don't need it to be completely cooked, Arnold said helplessly. And I don't think my stomach can handle waiting any longer. Growl. Right after Arnold finished speaking, His stomach also spoke up as if in agreement. Amelia and Arnold looked at each other before they broke out in laughter. Ha 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 ha. Here's the food. Amelia laughed out loud and simply took out the cooked rice from her space storage scroll and then prepared a plate to put the meat. Ahem. Arnold coughed with some embarrassment and then quickly ate the food in front of him. Even though Amelia had used a large pot and cooked a lot of meat, it was still far from enough. In the end, Amelia could only cook the second pot of meat soup. Arnold still has to wait, though. Do you want to try using lightning to increase the cooking speed? Arnold asked as he looked at the food. It seemed that the lightning element that Samuel used when fighting against the magic beasts were very effective. Could be said that these magic beasts were all cooked, right? Well, overcooked might be the best term. Because they couldn't really eat those magic beasts that was scorched to death due to how violent the lightning was. If you want to try, I think it's better to do it when you're healthy instead of right now, Amelia said subtly as she looked at Arnold up and down. His current situation was not very good and Amelia didn't want to torture him with cooking that might not be very good. Does your mana control that bad? Arnold looked at Amelia curiously. Samuel also asked him to train his mana control and the result was only average. In Samuel's words, it was not that bad, but it was far from those who had great talent for mana control. Arnold himself knew that this might not be his strong point, so he didn't insist on training that much. I didn't train my mana by cooking. That's Sean, Amelia complained. The one who have to cook precisely was Sean, alright? Her mana controls practice was different. Thinking about Sean cooking, Arnold couldn't help but laugh out loud. He knew very well that Sean has always hated going to the kitchen and didn't like cooking. But when his own mana control was to heat up the thin plate and cook, Sean would have no other choice but to do it. It was not known how many eggs have been harmed in the process. But one thing for sure, Sean will definitely not willing to go to the kitchen again. The food is ready. Amelia pursed her lips and put the cooked soup on the table. The meat was only half cooked, but for Arnold, who was still very hungry, it was good enough. Soon enough, all of the food had disappeared while Amelia was already cooking the third batch of meat soup. Well, she had turned into a chef. An unqualified chef, though. If you're hungry, you can also eat something, Arnold said when he remembered that Amelia is also a magic warrior. One of the easiest methods for them to replenish their energy was through eating the magic beast's meat. Because the magic beast's meat contained mana that made it the best replenishment for them. No, I don't like half-cooked meat, Amelia refused without hesitation. Arnold chuckled and then waited for the food to be ready. This time, most of the food entered Amelia's stomach and the rest entered his own stomach. He felt much better after eating so many meat, and Amelia was already making the fourth pot. It was definitely for herself because the food was far from enough. To be honest, Amelia wanted to cry when she thought about her appetite. The only good thing was that her figure hadn't changed that much and only looked a bit stronger with faint muscles. You should rest after this. Arnold looked at Amelia helplessly. I know. Anything else? Arnold saw the look in Amelia's eyes and asked quietly. Next time, don't try to be brave and go towards the place where the bombs are located. You're lucky that it's not very powerful. But what if it's a powerful magic scroll that can directly kill a rank for magic warrior? Amelia said slowly, staring at Arnold solemnly. I don't think it's possible. Arnold's voice weakened as he noticed Amelia's gaze. The only person who could make such a powerful magic scroll is Ria, and there was no way Ria would target them. This was not blind trust, but rather the trust that was built after communicating with Ria for a period of time. They could see that Ria was not a bloodthirsty person. Moreover, they could see that Ria kept on making exception for Amelia, Sophia, and Ruby. So it was clear that these three people have different place in her heart. In that situation, how could it be possible for Ria to do anything that could possibly hurt them? It was unreasonable. But when Arnold saw Amelia's gaze, he understood that this was not Amelia thinking in this direction. She's worried. She's worried about him. I will not take risks that I'm not certain of, Mel, Arnold said slowly. There might be a certain situation where I have to take risks, but it'll definitely not far above my capabilities. He knew that there were no bombs that could truly harm them. except for nuclear weapon, but that was another matter altogether. So he dared to step onto that trap while preparing to make the counterattack shield. No, he had already made the shield and inputted his mana to protect himself. The only time when he was caught off guard was when he faced Yer on his own and then the latter directly self-destruct. Samuel or Rhea would be able to sense the violent mana fluctuation that lead to one's self-destruction. But they couldn't do it. It was a problem that stemmed from their lack of experience along with the fact that their mana sensitivity was definitely not as high as these returnees. You! Amelia opened her mouth before sighing. Forget it. I know that it's impossible to stop you once you have set your goal. In a sense, all of them were stubborn fools. Each and every single one of them have their own goals in life, and it was simply impossible for them. Seeing Amelia wanted to go back to her cooking spot, Arnold reached out his hand and grabbed Amelia's wrist. In return, how about if you supervise me, so that I won't forget that there's someone who's waiting for my return? Amelia froze. She looked at Arnold with her eyes widened in surprise as she couldn't believe what she had just heard. Arnold smiled faintly in return, showing a gentle look on his face. This might seem a bit hasty, but Arnold knew very well that it wouldn't do him any good to let her stay worried but couldn't get close. At the very least, if they have a relationship, Amelia had the right to supervise him openly and strictly. What do you think? Arnold asked in a low voice. His tone sounded gentle, yet there was firmness within it. Amelia's face turned beet red almost immediately. Yes, please take care of me too. Amelia was a bit too excited to speak coherently. Her eyes were filled with Arnold's face, and at this moment, Amelia felt that her lifelong dream has come true. One part of her wanted to jump around in joy, while the other party was trying hard to restrain her inner desire. Good. Arnold smiled soothingly and gently rubbed Amelia's head. He slowly pulled the girl's head closer. Amelia, have your injuries treated? Sean froze on the open door. He saw his sister sitting beside the bed with Arnold in front of her. Arnold was lying on the bed, but the back was raised, so he was in sitting position. One of his hand was on the back of his sister's head. As a man who has a girlfriend himself, how could he not know what was going on? He swiftly turned around while saying, I'm sorry for disturbing. You can continue. Slam. The door was slammed shut, but the two people inside was no longer in the mood to continue. Amelia's face changed from shy, embarrassed, to frustration and anger. In the end, it all came to, Sean, come over here, you brat. Sister. I didn't mean it. Help. Don't you know how to knock the door? Sorry. Sister. Sister. Arnold looked at the two people who were chasing after each other on the hospital's corridor and couldn't help but laugh out loud. While it was annoying to be interrupted, but it was good to see the lively Amelia. At times like this, one would feel that Amelia is a little kid. Well, I have to explain things to Samuel when he comes. Thinking about Samuel, Arnold rubbed his forehead. Since the two of them were friends, Arnold was naturally honest with the other party about his concern and some other things when they gathered for drinking in the past. Samuel himself wouldn't stop him as long as he was sure and wouldn't hurt his sister. Of course, if he dared to hurt her, Samuel would definitely roast him alive. TH means of torturing people had increased sharply since Samuel is a magic warrior. Just thinking about it made Arnold really helpless. But no matter what, he didn't regret it. Seeing Amelia coming back after beating up Sean, Arnold chuckled and pointed at the food. It should be ready now. Right. Let's eat again. All right. Outside the door, Sean was half dead while lying on a chair. His face was bruised after being beaten up by his sister. It was not like he couldn't avoid it, but he knew that if he did that, his sister will not hesitate to punch him harder. Their battle might never end until they demolish something. Amelia has become more violent lately. Thinking about the fact that Amelia has gotten used to beating up people, Sean felt that his face hurt so much. Why did she have to get such a habit after having so much strength? Sean couldn't understand. When Reuben came to the hospital, the first scene he saw was the pig-head Sean. Reuben was silent. What did you do to provoke Amelia? I interrupted her relationship. Sean replied, his tone sounded unsure. Reuben looked at Sean and then at the closed hospital door in front of him. He had the feeling that if the two people inside were doing something that shouldn't be seen by others, he would be in worse state than Sean. After all, Sean is Amelia's brother, and she will have reservation when dealing with him. But he's Samuel's assistant. There was no such immunity for him. Anyway, they can stay in the hospital for a while longer if they want to, Reuben said without hesitation and added, "You can manage the hospitalization procedure yourself, and I'm going back." "Wait, don't you need to tell them?" Sean wanted to stop Reuben, but the latter was unexpected fast this time. Seeing Reuben disappearing from the corridor, Sean's lips twitched. He silently took out his phone. If he couldn't enter, couldn't he just send text message? Anyway, the most important thing is to let these two people know about this. After Sean sent the message, he ran to the front desk. He decided that once he finished with the procedure, he had to go back to their temporary residence and stayed far away from these two people. He missed his own girlfriend now. Inside the crack. In contrast to the pink atmosphere between Amelia and Arnold, Rhea and Samuel were busy inside the crack to kill many magic beasts. Even after encountering that rank 7 ghost transformed beast, the two of them didn't have any intention to back down. They continued their journey and explored various places within the crack. And it was through this exploration that they found something interesting. "It's a dead end again," Rhea said as she patted the wall in front of her. Through infusing her mana, she could sense how deep it is, and even after more than a kilometer, there was nothing but rocks in front of her. "This is the 5th one in the past few months," Samuel commented. The two of them have been staying within the crack for more than half a year. By this point, more than a year had passed ever since the first earthquake happened, and the two of them didn't come out much. The main reason was naturally because they didn't have any reason why they should come out. City A base was managed by Mr. Jones while the others were staying in City I base. The formation that Rhea set up for them were not triggered and their lives were not in danger. So the two of them didn't have any reason to go back. During this period of time, there were already several riots of magic beasts because Rhea took the special magic cores. The 5th rank special magic cores were all kept in her world to be given away, while the 6th rank special magic cores were all taken by Rhea. Through the use of these special magic cores, Rhea had reached rank 6 late stage. After that, she simply used various resources that they have found within the crack to help her speed up her training. These resources were far behind the special magic core. But it was good enough for Rhea. So in just a little bit over the year ever since the earthquake happened and nearly 2 years ever since her return from that world, Rhea had already reached the peak stage of rank 6. Once her mana was full, she could start her attempt to reach rank 7. Samuel himself was not far behind. Various valuable resources that they have found within the crack were taken by them and used without hesitation. In this way, Samuel's sword and Rhea's world had more or less recovered. They did encounter some rank 7 magic beasts, but these magic beasts were not the soul-type magic beasts like the ghost-transformed beast. Because of that, the two of them could still deal with these magic beasts one way or another. The two have explored the crack further away from City A base and City J base. They were planning to make a complete map of the crack's world, but so far, their attempt was far from successful. Aside from killing many magic beasts and finding some ores that they could use, the two of them didn't manage to completely explore the crack. However, they did have some discovery. "The crack's world is limited and some parts are blocked by the rocks," Samuel said while looking at the wall in front of him. "It seems as if something is blocking us from going forward." "Blocking them from going forward?" Rhea shook her head and sighed. "In any case, we now know that these magic beasts are not unlimited. They have killed a lot of magic beasts and the areas above them should have been a bit cleaner than the places they hadn't visited. It's impossible for there to be unlimited number of magic beasts," Samuel said quietly. He was sure that if there were so many magic beasts, the green planet would never be able to survive. "Ha ha!" Rhea let out a dry laugh when talking about this matter. "Forget it. Have you made your preparation to enter rank 7? Samuel asked. The two of them told each other their progress more or less. In this way, Samuel knew that the resources that Rhea found had allowed her to reach the peak of rank 6. If she could enter rank 7 within the next 2 months, This meant that she only took 2 years from her return to reach rank 7 again. This kind of speed was definitely the speed of genius even in that world. And in this world with less mana, it was still very impressive. Though they had to admit that they used up a lot of resources from the crack for them to be able to reach their current rank. Without so many resources used solely for themselves, they would be a waste if they couldn't reach rank 7 so quickly. Well, I still need some time. You will reach the peak stage soon too, right? Ria asked back. Samuel nodded. He also found some resources that could help him practice. Those were all valuable materials in that world, but here, they could take it at will. For a moment, he didn't know whether to treat this crack as a dangerous place or their own training ground, because it was obvious that the two of them didn't encounter that much danger. Well, they did see some troublesome rank 7 magic beasts, but these magic beasts were not their opponent and could be solved in a short period of time. In that case, let's go back to the surface. Ria stretched her hand. We have seen too many dead ends. The two of them tried to explore the deepest place of the crack, but they found out that there were too many roads blocked down here. It was clear that the crack has a limit, and the limit of the magic beasts that came to find them is only rank 7. Yes, the highest ranked magic beast they have seen so far was only rank 7. If there were any rank 8 magic beasts, Ria and Samuel would not hesitate to run away directly. The two of them knew very well that while they could contend against some rank 7 magic beasts, they would stand no chance when facing rank 8 magic beasts. Even some rank 7 magic beast was harder to deal with than the others. So the two of them would not provoke these magic beasts if it was possible and simply left from the other direction. After all, they came to the crack for exploration and not to seek their death. Okay. Samuel nodded in agreement. Ria took out some magic beast's blood and started to draw on the ground. By now, Samuel could no longer count how many teleportation formations that Ria had made within the crack. After all, it was a very convenient formation. When they met an opponent that they couldn't beat, they could just run away. Swish! With light, the two of them disappeared from the crack and appeared on top of a ruined building outside. Samuel looked around him and frowned. This is? A building between City J Base and City I Base, Ria replied calmly. We can walk to City I Base while you familiarize yourself with your affairs. Samuel had an official position and other things to manage. There was still some distance between this place and City I Base, so they could use this chance to settle some things first. Right? Samuel took out his phone and sighed. It seems that my father has left a lot of message. Ria chuckled. Does he want you to go back quickly? That's one of them. Samuel looked at the pile of messages on his phone and raised his hand weakly. Let's rest for a day and then go back later. He had completely forgotten about his business when he was inside the crack. Now that they were out, he had to deal with these things. It's fine. There's no hurry. Ria looked around before heading to one direction and started to set up various formations and runes around her. Samuel looked at Ria's movement and arched his eyebrows. It seemed that Ria chose this place to set up the teleportation formation not without reasons. But he didn't have any plan to interfere with her decision and focused his attention on his phone. City I Base. For more than half a year, Amelia and the others were also staying in City I Base. They were busy hunting magic beasts one after another. The amount of resources they could obtain through their own hunt was definitely less than what Samuel could get. But it was enough. They needed to learn to be independent to a certain degree. Samuel would not always be there to pamper them. As for their progress, all of them were still in rank 4 of their respective profession. Even though they were working hard to reach rank 5 as soon as possible, they realized that it was not so easy to advance through ranks after reaching rank 4. The fast improvement they used to have now have become snail pace. It was only then they realized why the other returnees didn't seem to be in a hurry either after reaching rank 4 or rank 5. They knew that their improvements could only be done step by step. Among them, the one with the highest rank was definitely Arnold and Amelia. After these two people confirmed their relationship, their date was to go out and hunt magic beasts together. The others who watched this fell into silence. They could only silently give thumbs up. The brother and sister are definitely very similar. Reuben complained when he heard that. Samuel has been going out to hunt magic beasts all the time and didn't even come home. Now Amelia is following his route. Indeed. Now I'm worried that Sean will be the same, Stephen said. The two of them turned to look at Sean, who looked dumbfounded. Don't look at me like that. I'm not stupid like my sister, Sean yelled in anger. He had gone to normal date in the past before the world changed. There was no way he would arrange such a bizarre date this like. Who in their right mind would choose fighting together as a way of dating? Definitely not him. Who did you call stupid? Amelia was standing behind her brother. Sean froze, and what followed was another scene of brutal beating where Sean was beaten up miserably by Amelia. After more than half a year, Sean had only managed to advance to rank for some time ago, and currently the weakest in the team, followed by Reuben, Stephen, and Sophia. For this matter, the two mages expressed their helplessness. The improvement for mages relied more on their mana refining, and it was harder to take shortcut compared to these magic warriors who could still use the flesh of magic beasts to improve their strength. From what they heard, even warriors' improvements were also similar in terms of method, aside from the fact that it was harsher on the daily practice. Their mana improved slowly, and the two people chose to practice their mana control most of the time, because this would help them to speed up their mana refinement. And talking about mana refinement, both Arnold and Amelia were also having difficulty in improving their mana. Before they could have sufficient mana, it was estimated that they would not be able to reach rank 5 anytime soon. In any case, the 6 of them were still doing well. And after being beaten up by Amelia, Sean stopped targeting his sister. He really didn't want to die suddenly because his strong sister beat him up. But Sean felt at loss. He's a magic warrior, and technically speaking, he should be able to improve his strength faster through eating magic beasts' meat just like others. However, it was also a fact that his rank was the lowest among the team. It was as if the heaven was mocking him for having the lowest talent when everyone around him was improving very quickly. Sean could also sense that he didn't seem to have any advantage, be it in terms of physical training or in terms of main refining. The speed was average. Perhaps it was better than many other people because of the resources dumped on him. But it was definitely not as fast as his siblings and the people around him. People were not afraid of their incompetence. They were afraid of comparison. And this was what Sean was feeling. Seeing everyone walking further and further ahead of him, Sean really felt that he had no place here. He felt at loss. It's still early, Sean. Reuben yawned as he walked out of his room. They all rented a big residence together, and everyone lived in separate rooms. After all, it was more convenient and safer to have each other to take care of them. This morning, Reuben woke up early and saw Sean standing near the door. Reuben, do you think it's possible for me to go back to City A Base alone? Reuben paused in his steps. He looked at Sean in front of him with strange expression and slowly asked, Do you want to go back? They have been staying in City A Base for more than half a year. Reuben knew that Sean missed his girlfriend, and the two of them called each other repeatedly in the past few months. But it was inevitable that Sean would miss her very much. From what they had known, Joan had advanced to rank for some time ago and made good improvement. Her light element was very suitable for her professions, and Joan was happy to be able to help many people in the hospital. Do you want to see Joan? Reuben asked back. It's not realistic to go back on your own with your current strength. Unless you can reach rank 5, otherwise, it's better for you to stay in City A Base honestly. Rank 5 again. Sean's face turned a shade darker when he heard Reuben's words. If he could reach rank 5, he would not have asked this question in the first place. After all, Sean knew very well that with his current speed improvement, it would be pipe dream for him to reach rank 5 anytime soon. It's really hard, Sean muttered in a low voice. Reuben looked at Sean helplessly. Otherwise, just wait until Samuel and Rhea come back. With their help, you can definitely go back to City A Base quickly. Even if the number of magic beasts out there had decreased with their effort, it was still dangerous for them to travel such a long distance on their own. After all, Sean was not extremely powerful or anything like that. He's only a rank 4 magic warrior. And right now, there were already many rank 4 magic warriors in the military. With the effort of the country, they were pushed forward. reaching the height that many people couldn't reach in their lifetime. After all, Sean could clearly feel that his advancement to rank 4 was not so smooth. There seemed to be a layer blocking him, which made him have to train harder and harder. For this reason, he was also the last one to advance to rank 4. I know, Sean finally said. Seeing Sean was still staring at the backyard, Ruben silently took out his phone and sent a message. He was not close to Sean, but there should be someone who could talk with Sean more freely. After sending the message, Ruben left. Sean sat on the chair, still looking at the backyard while thinking about Ruben's words. He has been following his brother for a long time, and in the first place, the reason why he started practicing was also because his brother ordered all of them to practice. It was hard and tiring, but it was worthwhile. At least, in this changed world, he would not be someone who was washed away by time and all. It has been more than a year since the earthquake happened and the situation out there had stabilized. Many people had become stronger. There were no other outrageous magic beasts tied, and everything seems to be going in the good direction. And Sean felt at loss. His talent is average, his ability in various aspects are average. Does he really need to continue torturing himself in the practice? Practice has never been easy. It required him to spare some time and repeated the content of the practice over and over again. It was so tiring that Sean didn't know what to say. Many people worked enough just for them to live. If he really wanted to, he could actually not do anything because his family background allowed him to live a salted fish life. But what did he really want to do? Sean felt at loss. Bam! And what greeted him was the iron fist of love from his sister. Ouch, ouch sis, do you have to attack me out of nowhere? Sean wanted to cry when he saw Amelia standing behind him with her fist clenched. He swore that his sister's violent nature was completely unleashed in the past year. These magic beasts didn't only make their lives difficult but also made people who used to be doing well to engage in violence. Humph! Amelia snorted and then pulled a chair to sit down beside Sean. Ruben texted me saying that you want to go back. Are you lovesick? Homesick? Or it's because of another thing? She knew her brother well, and Amelia could guess that if Sean could be so troubled, there should be more troubles. It shouldn't be because of lovesickness, because Sean has never been such a love-brain-dead person. As for homesick, to be honest, Amelia didn't think that Sean would miss their parents that much. They were all living in their university's dormitory in the past, and if it was not because of their parents' urging, it was estimated that they would not go back in the slightest bit. They wanted to stay outside more than going back. Well, Sean looked at his sister and then said, I'm just thinking that my talent is really bad, and that I might have a completely different option if I go back. In front of his sister, he didn't mind telling these things, because he knew that his family members were willing to listen to him and would not be perfunctory. It was his blessing to have such family members. But at the same time, he was also troubled by his own poor talent. I want to be like brother or you, but I feel that I have no talent to become a magician nor a warrior, Sean said in a low tone. He felt that he was really useless. Perhaps his talent could be considered average. But what was the good in it? Compared to these geniuses, he was nothing more than a burden. Right now, Sean really felt like giving up and take other paths. Amelia frowned. She could guess why Sean thought this way, because their rate of improvements were really different. In the beginning, Amelia and Sean were still competing with each other childishly as if they children. During that period of time, Sean even showed better talent in terms of mana control compared to Amelia. Moreover, his mana refining was actually better than Amelia to a certain degree. So if one wanted to say about his talent as a magician was better than Amelia, but his talent as a warrior was worse than Amelia. No, your talent is definitely better than many people, Amelia said without hesitation. She could sense it keenly, especially since the two of them started training at almost the same time. In fact, Amelia used to be almost unable to catch up with Sean's improvement because she was really lazy. By half fishing and half serious in her training, she could barely meet the training requirement from her brother. If it was not because of Victoria's incident, perhaps Amelia would not change herself nor try hard to become a powerful magic warrior who could stand on her own. She will not deny that her brother's pampering and Ria's favor helped her a lot, But her own hard work couldn't be denied either. Without her own hard work over the years, it was impossible for her to reach her current rank. It was the combination of both luck and effort that allowed her to come this far. Believe me, Sean, I know that your talent is not as bad as you might think, Amelia said solemnly as she looked at her younger brother. The two of them were closer in age, so they often played together when they were young. At the same time, Amelia knew very well how her brother's temperament is. He looked quite heartless and also sharp-tongued, plus quite bad-tempered. But at the same time, he was actually quite thoughtful in his heart. Amelia knew that Sean was troubled by the fact that he couldn't be as good as her and Samuel. When she was busy training, she did forget about him to a certain degree. But now that her own affairs were more or less settled, she had just realized that her brother's state was wrong. Even if it's not that bad, do you really think it's possible for me to reach rank 5? Even if I can reach it, how many years do you think it'll take? Sean whispered in a low voice. His mood was extremely low. He knew very well that, with the abundance of resources that they could get along with what their brother had given them, it would not be impossible for him to reach rank 5 in the future. But such a way of advancement, Sean had to say that he didn't feel comfortable, because he would think that he was taking advantage of his family to reach the height that he shouldn't reach in his life. So what? You're born in the Jones family and it's fine even if you use the family's resources for your own practice. I have done that for so many years and you can also do the same. Amelia looked at Sean and snorted. Family background is also a kind of strength, you know? They were not like some orphans on the street who didn't have anyone to support and help them. Their family backgrounds were also a kind of resources. Is it fair? But even if it's not fair, there was nothing that other people could do but to accept it. Because this was just the way the world is. Not everyone has the same background, and it was clearly an impossible request for everyone to be the same. Since they were born in the Jones family, had more resources than others, then it was obvious that their target would be different from other people. You're really the epitome of the favored, have no fear, Sean muttered in a low voice. Because Amelia was really pampered from left to right that Sean himself had difficulty saying anything else. She was used to being pampered by others. But Sean was different. He did receive pampering from his parents, but he would feel guilty if he didn't do anything in return. Because no matter what, he didn't want to be unable to do anything. I can't say that I understand why everyone is pampering me, but since they're willing to do so, then I just have to be myself. Amelia spread her hands. If they need me to do anything, I'll not hesitate to help them because I know that it's impossible for me to reach this point without their help. But more than anything else, I just have to be myself and live a good life. As long as I live well, I know that they're happy for me. It was a bit strange indeed, but Amelia understood her positioning very well. Samuel wanted his family members to live well, and even if Amelia didn't do anything but only having fun for her entire life, he would not say anything. Because she's his sister and their parents asked him to take care of her. They were family members and Amelia knew her brother had helped her a lot over the years. Her parents only wanted her to live well. Even her younger brother wished for the best for her. As for Ria, the two of them were best friends and they also hoped each other would have a good life. Perhaps in the beginning, Ria didn't want to let Amelia know about Ria's other side. But the world's change made it impossible for her to hide these things. So Ria told Amelia everything clearly. And she also arranged for a lot of protection. It was clear that what Ria wanted Amelia to do was to keep alive and well. This was the wish of everyone around her and Amelia will definitely live well to the fullest. She's a pampered young miss. This was something that Amelia knew very well. After the threat of Victoria was gone, Amelia did keep most of her practice, but she would not wrong herself anymore. When she was tired, she would figure out a way to take a break, and if she was bored, she would think of a way to entertain herself. To a certain degree, her life was actually very fulfilling. And after confirming her relationship with Arnold, it was clear that the other party was willing to pamper her too. This often made Amelia really wanted to lie down and did nothing, because she knew that there were still many people who would help to take care of her even if she did nothing. But Amelia couldn't do that. She knew very well that she had to live well and to be able to live a long life in this world. She had to have enough strength. so she still forced herself to practice and followed behind Arnold. With the talent she had, she has become one of the best in their group. Well, putting aside Samuel and Ria, who were definitely far ahead from them. But Amelia's progress was definitely one of the fastest among them. You're really carefree. Sean didn't know whether to laugh or cry when he heard Amelia's words, but at the same time he understood that Amelia was right. She has such right because of the pampering that other people gave to her. And Amelia took it well because she knew very well that her own capabilities were not high. They never requested anything from her. And the best thing she could do for them was to live well. Sean didn't know whether to envy Amelia or just laugh it off. No matter what, Amelia is his sister and he also hoped that she can live well. Well, if you're still worried, how about if you wait for brother and Ria to come? Amelia asked tentatively. My evaluation of your talent might not be accurate, but if it's them, I'm sure that you will trust them. The image of Samuel and Ria had been firmly rooted in their mind. They knew very well that both Samuel and Ria were indeed qualified to make judgment of a person's talent, because they have seen more geniuses and should know other people's evaluation far better than anyone. All right, Sean finally agreed. To be honest, he really wanted to go back, but he also knew that it was not realistic. The road was not that safe, and if he insists on going to city a base in this condition, he might end up losing his life. He might be confused, but he didn't want to die. Especially dying in such a confused way. There was no way he wanted it to happen. Good boy. Amelia grinned and raised her hand to mess up Sean's hair. Sean? He slapped Amelia's hand and complained, Are you treating me like pets? Don't touch a man's hair so easily. You're my younger brother, Amelia retorted without hesitation. Seeing the smug smile on Amelia's face, Sean belatedly realized that he really couldn't do anything to his sister. In the end, he could only wave his hand with amusement, letting her leave and lay with Arnold again. Amelia also didn't plan to stay here any longer. It was still early and Ruben's text message woke her up far earlier than her waking up time, so she simply slipped off to her residence again. She's really carefree, Sean muttered as he watched Amelia rushed back and shook his head in amusement. But he did feel a bit better. There was no rush for him to do anything right now. Patiently practicing and then waited for his brother to come back would be the best thing for him to do. With that in mind, Sean silently made his way back to his room. My younger brother can be quite worrying, Amelia muttered to herself in annoyance. If it was possible, she really didn't want to talk with her younger brother about such a problem. But perhaps it was because Amelia herself didn't really mind being the useless one in the family. She already had that position for a long time, and if she couldn't really keep up with the others' progress, Amelia wouldn't feel much and only think that as a matter of course. After all, Amelia has never been an ambitious person. She preferred a relaxed life. If the situation didn't make her have to train hard, Amelia was sure that she would have lived a salted fish life as the young miss of the Jones family. It's rare to see you wake up so early, Mel. Sophia was awake, but her expression clearly told that she was also sleepy. Huh? Why did you wake up? Amelia looked at Sophia in surprise and then thought of something. It's not because of me, right? Sophia rolled her eyes. Nah, Akira just made trouble in the pet space. I think that I need to hunt more lightning element magic beasts for it to eat, so that it wouldn't trouble me so early in the morning. Amelia thought about Sophia's pet and chuckled. You've reached rank 4? Have you thought about your next pet? No, I plan to talk with Ria after she comes, Sophia replied honestly. While there was indeed the list of magic beasts in the official website, but if one wanted to find a specific one, it was not that easy. After all, there were so many of them and they didn't know how powerful these magic beasts were compared to many other magic beasts. The development of these magic beasts were also unknown. Sophia felt that she should ask Ria instead if she wanted the best option. You have a defense, mobility, and even attacking. How about support? Amelia asked while thinking. After all, a magic beast that could support Sophia would be good. Support? Sophia thought about Murin back then. She had seen the pet selection by Murin and to be honest, she felt a bit amazed. She knew from Rhea and Samuel that Murin's talent allowed him to have twice the number of pets compared to other beast masters. This talent was really enviable. And as a beast master, Sophia clearly realized what kind of advantage that Murin could have in battle. But after having 3 pets, Sophia clearly understood that there was one problem that would stop her from having too many pet beasts. Money. None of these pet beasts were easy to feed, and thinking about the large amount of resources that she has to invest, Sophia already felt that her wallet was crying. Among the 6 of them, Sophia was undoubtedly the poorest, because she has 4 mouths that she has to feed. Moreover, 3 of them were voracious eater, and Sophia had to find a lot of magic beasts' corpses to feed them. If not for their own ability to fight, Sophia had the feeling that she wouldn't be able to support her family. "What do you think?" Amelia asked again. She felt that if Sophia really wanted to, she could just ask Rhea for help. In return, Sophia could take care of Mo. Speaking about Mo, that white tiger has been staying in the backyard and often went out on its own and only came back a few days later with its entire body covered in blood. If not for their familiarity with Mo, it was estimated that they wouldn't be able to recognize the white tiger. "Well, I'm thinking whether to focus on defense or offense," Sophia admitted helplessly. "Because my own fighting capability is not high, and I think that having more life-saving method is more important. Just like Murin. He has 4 magic beasts that can help him to save his life." This information was known through Rhea and Samuel. These 2 people didn't really care that Murin's information was exposed to their friends. After all, these people all knew not to share this kind of things with others, but it was enough to let them know to a certain extent. In this way, they would be able to deal with Murin if they were to go against each other in the future. Though it wouldn't be that easy. "You want to be a mobile fortress?" Amelia asked with difficulty. For a moment, she felt that the people around her were really afraid of being killed. But with the protection that Rhea had given to them, it was actually not that easy for them to die. "Well, I just think that it's better to have more defense." Sophia stuck out her tongue playfully. "But I'll wait for Rhea's opinion. There's no hurry to get more magic beasts." Another reason why she was not in a hurry was because Sophia really couldn't be sure that she had enough resources to keep so many magic beasts around her. These magic beasts would all eat a lot of her resources. For the poor Sophia, it was definitely not a very good thing. Amelia nodded in understanding. They trusted Samuel and Rhea more, mainly because of these 2 people's past. After talking about these, Amelia started to feel sleepy again and sighed deeply. She rubbed her forehead. "I think I'll sleep for a few more hours before coming out again. I don't think I can go out much today." "You better meditate rather than sleeping." Sophia shook her head and then asked, "Have you solved the problem?" Rather than solving, it's more like I temporarily calm him down." Amelia scrunched her face. "Really? These people can be very troublesome from time to time." She wanted not to care, but these people's action just made it impossible for him not to care. "Well," Sophia laughed out loud. "Stop laughing." "Well, he's your brother, so even if he's troublesome, you just have to deal with it." Sophia smiled. Just like her own brother. If there was something wrong with Stephen, Sophia would not hesitate to put down everything on her hand and rushed over, because she didn't want anything bad to happen to her brother. "I know." Amelia sighed deeply and waved his hand. "Stop laughing." "I'm not laughing." "Oh yeah. Ha ha ha. Don't tickle me. You can't get away." The 2 girls were having fun with each other, and Melly looked at these 2 people with her head tilted. She didn't understand why these 2 people liked to play around so much. Samuel and Rhea's sighed. Samuel, who had just finished settling the matter with his father, turned his head to the side when he sensed the mana fluctuation. Without hesitation, he jumped down and headed to the location where Rhea was located. He stopped at the door and paused. Rhea is inside a gym building, and Samuel could sense the mana that was surging inside. It was clear that she was using some kind of formation to make the mana concentration increased rapidly. The mana concentration of the green planet hadn't changed much after the earthquake. It was still at the level where it was far lower than their previous world and also lower than the crack. But at this moment, He felt that the mana concentration was so high that it almost materialized. "You're there, Samuel," Rhea said as she turned around, and her hand was still drawing runes on the ground. The walls and even the ceiling of the gym hall had been completed painted red with blood, forming countless markings. And the floor was almost over. If one didn't know better, they would think that Rhea was a member of a cult or something. The scene in front of him was a bit eerie. Samuel was silent and didn't walk inside. He remained still on the door and looked at Rhea inside. His brain turned rapidly before he asked, "Are you planning to advance to rank 7? Rank 7 is a special ranks. The main reason why it was special was because one who could reach rank 7 meant that they had stepped onto the higher realm. Every 3 ranks were another realm, and the gap between rank 6 and rank 7 was extremely big. Moreover, advancing from rank 6 to rank 7 meant that they have to prepare a ceremony. Every profession has their own ceremony, and it was clear that Rhea's ceremony involved the matter of forming various formations. Magicians have to wait until their mana is full, and warriors have to wait until their blood was at their peak state, Rhea said calmly as she continued to draw on the ground. The blood-red markings looked very eye-catching. To be honest, many people might feel this image in front of them a bit disturbing. But Rhea didn't feel anything. From the moment she chose to become a Runemaster, she knew very well that the materials that she used would mainly be magic beasts' blood. Collecting the magic beasts' blood and processing them has become the norm for her. People with blood phobia would definitely not be able to last long in this profession. The only good thing was probably she didn't have to collect people's blood. If she had to, then Rhea might have to start doubting whether her decision is correct. "That's not an answer," Samuel said slowly. "We have already reached rank 7 once. So you should know that the most important thing is the state of mind. Everything else is auxiliary and could use other means to push our state to the peak. If their minds were not ready, then no matter how they prepared themselves, it would be useless. But if they were prepared, then it was good. Other things were simply related to their situation after their advancement, which was not very important. However, they have never been told by others. At least, not before they reached rank 7. It was only after they reached rank 7 did they realize that the meticulous preparation was actually more or less for their state of mind. As long as their minds are firm enough, they could actually advance to rank 7. They didn't dare to tell the children about this because it might affect their state of mind instead. And if they were to take things for granted during their own advancement, they were basically putting themselves on the risk. "You have reached the peak of rank 6, Samuel whispered in a low voice. Since Rhea's physical state had reached the condition and her mind had long reached the condition to enter rank 7. Why should she hold back? So Rhea came here not only because she wanted to let him manage his affairs first, but also to reserve a venue for her advancement to rank 7. Because of the commotion caused by a person's advancement to rank 7, it was definitely not a good thing. Only other returnees knew how much danger a person would have when they advanced to rank 7. Samuel looked at these formations. "I guess if I dare to enter, I'll die, am I right?" Samuel continued, his voice was calm. Rhea finally stopped drawing and raised her head to look in Samuel's direction. There was a faint smile on her lips as she said, "Even if I trust you to a certain degree, I can't let you truly by my side at this point. The ceremony is extremely important for any profession, because this is the formation that would determine whether they could reach the peak or not. No matter how much they trusted someone, they would not allow them to stay with them so closely and gave them a chance to interrupt the ceremony. If they failed, it would be something that they would regret for the rest of their lives. And their lifespan after becoming a rank 6 was no longer as short as they used to be. For so many years, they would regret this one decision. It was not worth it. Rather than putting the trust bet on such a matter, it would be better to keep their own guard up and didn't give him the chance from the very beginning." "I understand." Samuel nodded and leaned against the door with his arm crossed. He didn't walk into the room and instead watched Rhea from outside. As someone who had experienced the rank 7 advancement ceremony before, Samuel naturally understood why Rhea was so cautious. Even he himself would not let others stay close so easily around him when he advanced to rank 7. Even though his means were different from Rhea, but there was still some similarities. For example, finding a secluded place. Secondly, arrange traps and so on. In this way, those who wanted to get close to him would not be able to come and take advantage of the situation. Sorry. Rhea showed an apologetic smile and then added, and thank you. After that, Rhea turned around and continued to draw the formation on the ground. It was almost done and Rhea was basically using the highest ranked magic beast's blood that she could use. The rank 7 magic beast's blood coupled with rank 6 magic beast's blood. These magic beasts' blood was extremely precious because there were not many magic beasts rank 7 that she and Samuel hunted over the years. But this was also the best material for her advancement. After all, Rhea knew very well that the large amount of mana that she needed for her advancement couldn't be supported by lower-ranked magic beasts' blood. The purity and the mana that could be driven by rank 7 magic beasts' blood was several times that of lower-ranked magic beasts' blood. It was precisely because it was really precious that Rhea knew that she only had one chance. If she failed this time, she would have to take a long time to make the preparation for the second one. I'll stay outside. I guess the small formation around should be your handiwork. Samuel couldn't sense these formations, but he guessed that Rhea should have put up some guards around the gym. The reason why he didn't trigger it might be because Rhea added some special rules. She still allowed him to come close to the main venue, but she would not let him participate in the core part. Yes, Rhea replied calmly, and with a stroke of her hand, the formation under her was done. She looked at it a few more times before she was satisfied and turned to look at Samuel, who was still standing by the door. Do you want to watch? There was nothing interesting from their advancement ceremony. It was nothing more than the process of integrating their heart, mind, and body with mana, reaching a completely new realm. The lifespan would also be greatly extended. People who have reached rank 7 would live much longer than ordinary people and could see several generations of people. That is, if there was no accident in the process. Yes, Samuel replied. I guess it'll be very different from Magic Warrior ceremony and I'm interested. He couldn't see many people's advancement ceremony because these people would always be secretive of that. In that world, competition was even harsher and there might be people who backstab others for various reasons. The laws and regulations were not that strict and many people were willing to bet everything for the sake of a chance to advance to higher rank. Because in their eyes, power is everything. Samuel had seen so much people like that in his previous life that he was no longer surprised when he saw the depravity of human beings after the world had changed. How many of them could keep their moral grounds after being tempted so much? Not everyone has such a firm mind. Yet at the same time, only those who had firm mind in their ideals, be it crooked, righteous, or even eccentric, could possibly reach the top. Because the process to reach the top will definitely take a long time and each and every single one of them definitely had to experience many things. If they didn't have something that could keep their mind stable and firm, they would never be able to reach that step. There were 2 ceremonies that every profession had to undergo if they wanted to reach the top. From rank 6 to rank 7 there would be an advancement ceremony. And from rank 9 to rank 10, there would be another ceremony. But that was not something for Samuel to concern himself about. After all, it would definitely take a long time for him to reach that rank. No one would allow you to get close to their advancement ceremony in normal times, Rhea said quietly and then added, but you should lower your presence and stay quiet. I know, Samuel replied with a smile. He had watched one advancement ceremony, one that was done by his cousin in that world. Even though there were some competition between the family members in that world, but their relationship with each other was relatively harmonious. To be honest, it might be a bit hard to imagine considering that there were some interest involved. But that was how it is. There were some internal conflicts, but there were also many of them who have good relationship with each other. This one cousin was one of them who had good relationship with Samuel and they watched each other's advancement ceremony. Of course, there were still formation that separated them. After all, they didn't want to tempt the other party to make a move no matter how good their relationship were. Good. After getting Samuel's confirmation, Rhea stopped paying attention to him. The mana around the place had surged and she could guess that it would soon be the most ideal place for her advancement ceremony. As a Runemaster, her advancement ceremony naturally had to be accompanied by the runes. But before that, rise. With a flick of her hand, several magic cores came out from her storage scrolls and Rhea activate the defensive formation. She would be focusing on her breakthrough for the next few hours. Considering that the amount of mana she has in this life was much more than her previous life, Rhea guessed that her breakthrough would definitely take a long time. The special magic cores that she used had increased her mana quantity and quality to a certain degree. It was a good thing, yet at the same time it also made things troublesome for her. After all, Rhea would have to stay longer to fully put herself to the peak state and then started the process. The defensive formation is a necessity, and it had to be able to block up to peak rank 6 attack. Let's hope there's truly no rank 7 magic beasts nearby. Other returnees wouldn't be able to stop Rhea even if they wanted to, as the formation would stop them completely. And the formation that she had just drawn would be the key for her advancement. The first step for magician to advance to rank 7 was to meditate and compress their mana to the purest form. So much that it would even squeeze their heart to a certain degree. There would be pain, but it was a necessity. Rhea took a deep breath and sat down in the middle. Several mana stones appeared in her hand and flew towards the corner of the room. It was placed at the marked place, and the next moment, light shone from the blood-colored formation. The eerie atmosphere was instantly turned into a magnificent view from the formation as beautiful light intertwined around. Dense runes were dancing around Rhea, tightly protecting her as mana surged up. The blood color had completely disappeared, turning into gold and silver color. The entire formation seemed to be a beautiful golden house, protecting their princess inside. It was beautiful. This was the only thing that Samuel could think when he watched the formation that was activated by Rhea. Putting aside the bloody formation outside the gym that was responsible for protecting Rhea's safety, the formation inside the gym was exactly the type that would definitely attract people's attention. Simply because it shined beautifully and brilliantly. It was nothing short of the word performance. Samuel kept quiet and looked at Rhea in the middle of the formation. He could sense the mana around was slowly but surely surging towards Rhea. Rhea could sense that the mana in her surroundings started to move towards her. Some of the mana were absorbed into her body, which would help to strengthen her body to a certain degree through the formation in her heart. The amount of mana was a bit too much, and Rhea could feel her muscles screaming. As a mage, their physical bodies have always been their weakness, and the cheat that Rhea made for herself was not exactly the best. It could only make sure that she still has a certain degree of defense when facing other magic warriors. And right now, Rhea had no time to pay attention. She could only pay attention to her own mana heart. The process of breakthrough would last for a few hours at the very least. During this period of time, it could be said that a mage was at their weakest point. Some people would use potion to help them advance, but since there was no potion, well, there was no doubt that they had to rely on themselves. Rhea knew that there was an alchemist in the Green Planet, but she was not sure which side that alchemist is on. Besides, can she trust the potion made by someone she didn't know? Even Samuel had to stay outside of the formation because she couldn't fully trust him, much less the alchemist whom she didn't know and had never met before. And in this process of condensing her mana heart, Rhea could sense that the surroundings had started to change. The mana that was gathered inside the gym room was decreasing at the speed visible to the naked eyes. It seemed as if there was a strong suction power coming from Rhea. The mana gathered into her body, and the runes were medium that Rhea used to guide the mana into her body, along with the golden-colored runes that was dancing around the room. After swirling around, the runes rushed towards Rhea, entering her body through her hands. It was amazing. Samuel watched as dense runes drawings appeared on Rhea's hand, slowly extending towards other part of her body. He guessed that there would be runes marking all over Rhea's body by the time she was done. But since Rhea is wearing clothes, he couldn't see it. Not that he wanted to see it. Cough. The mana disturbance even reached outside the gym. The formation that Rhea made was not enough to completely cover up the movement made by her advancement. Samuel glanced out and saw that the mana in the air started to distort. Yes, distort. Because the mana was forcefully pulled by Rhea and the movement was relatively violent. The areas around the gym was slowly but surely got affected, and they could even see faint distortion in the air. To be honest, it does look a bit creepy. But Samuel was calm. This was not the first time he saw mana distortion. But the movement is indeed a bit too big. Samuel rubbed his forehead. Couldn't be helped. In that world, there was some special places dedicated for these people for their advancement ceremony. There were various formations and protection that they had set up so that the disturbance would be limited to a certain degree. Those formations were all above rank 7 and could certainly protect them. No matter how noisy they were, no one outside could disturb them. Various families also have their own special advancement ceremonies place where they would be protected and the disturbance caused by the ceremony would never be noticed by others. But in this world, the green planet didn't even have that much mana in the first place, and it was unlikely that the amount would increase significantly anytime soon. Most of their mana source came from the magic beast's corpses that died or through the leak from the crack. Samuel was not sure about the principle of the formation, but he knew that the mana concentration in the green planet was not that bad. Well, compared to their previous world, it was far worse. But it should be enough for them to start practicing compared to before the earthquake happened. And now, Rhea was violently taking the mana. There was no doubt that the disturbance will be very big and many people would know about it. The green planet is about to welcome the first rank 7 magician. Swish! The mana around Rhea surged as she continued to compress her mana heart. It spread further and further with Rhea's progress. 1 meter, 2 meter, 10 meters, 30 meters. To a certain degree, the larger the distance of the mana disturbance, the greater one's potential and ability. This was something that was known by many people, but the degree of disturbance has never been made clear. After all, everything was suppressed by the formation. Only the Runemasters would know how it is through looking at the impact on their formation. Rumble. The mana distortion was not only to the side but also to the sky and the ground. Mana is essentially the energy of the nature. And because of Rhea's action, the nature was disturbed and a storm was brewing. The previously clear night sky turned dark. Clouds gathered and lighting was flashing from time to time. There was great contrast between the scenes within the gym and the scenes outside the gym. It was as if the world was split apart into two completely different scenes. As the one standing by the door, Samuel naturally watched all of this. But he didn't have much thoughts about it. He only looked at Rhea, who had quickly compressed her mana heart and arched his eyebrows. As expected from someone who had experience before. There was no way other people would be able to do it as fast as her. Samuel saw that the rune's drawing had reached Rhea's neck, and it was slowly forming silver and gold-colored rune lines on her face. The movements seemed to be getting faster, which meant that Rhea was about to enter the second stage of her advancement. But before that, those people should notice this disturbance. The changes in the sky outside were getting bigger and bigger. Due to the lack of mana, the formation had to pull mana from even further away to make up for the gap, so the disturbance would be even bigger. And this will directly affect other people. As Samuel had expected, many people noticed the changes in the sky. But ordinary people would not associate this with the advancement ceremony of rank 7. Because no one knew that they had to experience a ceremony when advancing from rank 6 to rank 7 aside from the returnees. After all, there were only a small handful of people who finally reached rank 5 after exhausting a large amount of resources. Or perhaps, they hadn't even reached rank 5 and still at the peak of rank 4 since neither Rhea or Samuel paid attention to this matter. There was no need to say anything about it. They definitely used up a large amount of resources in order to advance to rank 5. But after reaching rank 5, they would realize that their training was simply a bottomless hole and it would take much more resources for them to advance from rank 5 to rank 6. And from rank 6 to rank 7? It was simply impossible for anyone to take that step aside from the returnees for the time being. So they didn't know. Added with the fact that the seasons hadn't been very peaceful lately, what they thought was that there were more odd phenomenons nearby. The temperature had changed from extreme hot to cold. There was no snow, but people could sense that the temperature was getting colder and colder. At this moment, many people had already started to wear thicker clothes, especially those who didn't succeed in their practice. They could only rely on various clothings and so on to protect themselves. Is it a storm? I don't know, but the atmosphere is really strange. Yeah. People in City I base. The weather today is really strange. Amelia looked outside with a strange expression. She was thinking of going out and hunt more magic beasts with Arnold. But at this moment, she felt that she should change her decision. The mana in the air is distorted, Arnold said with a frown. Being at the peak of rank 4, their sensitivity towards the mana's movement and concentration in the air was higher. Coupled with the fact that the mana distortion was visible to the naked eyes, it was only obvious that these two people noticed it. The current situation didn't seem to be very good. Will there be another catastrophe? Amelia asked. Her tone clearly reflected her worry. If there were another earthquake like before, it was estimated that the people wouldn't be able to survive, because there might be more powerful magic beasts coming out to greet them. How many of them could possibly deal with powerful magic beasts without the returnees? If it was only rank 4 to rank 5, the elites cultivated by various forces could still have a chance to deal with these magic beasts. But if it was higher, other than the returnees, the others simply didn't have any hope of dealing with them in the slightest bit. I don't know, Arnold said, and then pushed Amelia back to the room. We better stay inside and stay with each other. If something bad really happened, we'll be ready to deal with it. The 6 of them quickly gathered in one of their temporary residences. The 2 residents were connected either way, and it didn't feel good to stay in 2 places when such an incident happened. Reuben was looking outside and watched the sky above him. There are runes in the sky, Reuben muttered in a low voice. Even though it was faint, Reuben could see the runes in the air. Countless runes, some he knew and some he didn't know, seemed to be filling the sky. And these runes were not staying in one place but moving in one direction. Runes? Arnold heard this and thought about something. Is it Rhea? The only person who could possibly cause such a phenomenon and related to runes seemed to be Rhea. Huh? Can Rhea create such a big scene? Sean was confused. They all knew that Rhea is very powerful, but the greatest incident that she made seemed to be the Great Formation that could cover up the entire city, right? They have never heard of anything more than that. I don't know. Well, let's just wait. At this moment, everyone could only wait. City J base. The other base that was close to the disturbance was naturally City J base. The 2 returnees who were busy there seemed to sense something as they looked at the distance. Upon seeing this scene, their expression changed slightly. It's rank 7 advancement ceremony, Dina muttered in a low voice. Her expression was a bit strange. Who is it that advanced so quickly through ranks? Samuel? The Runemaster? Or it's Peter? As for why Dina didn't think of the others, it was because she knew their situation more or less. Murin was still at rank 5 the last time they met, and it was impossible for him to advance quickly when all of his magic beasts were bottomless pit. It would be good enough if Murin didn't die because he couldn't feed his magic beasts. As for Ruth, Dina had seen the other party and knew that Ruth was still a bit further away from reaching the peak of rank 6. The 2 of them had only reached rank 6 a few weeks ago, and consolidating their ranks plus gathering more resources to reach the peak of rank 6 definitely took time. They couldn't possibly reach the peak instantly. And this world was not very friendly for them because the mana concentration was not very high. If they wanted to practice faster, the best choice would be to enter the crack, but most of them would only stay near the crack's race. In this way, if something happened, they could go back directly. But now, someone had taken a step ahead. The feeling of being overtaken is really not good. Dina clicked her tongue and then took out her phone. Jonas, go and investigate the movements of other returnees. I want the result as fast as possible. Yes, Mississippi. After hanging up the phone, Dina looked at the distance and clicked her tongue. She really wanted to go there and checked it herself. But Dina had the faint feeling that even if she went there, she wouldn't be able to do anything. Every returnees have their own way to deal with their advancement and definitely put a lot of protective measures around it. Some courageous B***starred even dared to do their advancement ceremony next to a rank 8 magic beast back in that world. Dina could only say 666 to them, because she wouldn't dare to do that. But she herself was also making the preparation for her advancement ceremony, even though she knew that it would take at least a few more months, or even more than a year for her to reach the peak of rank 6. Should I hasten my preparation? Dina thought about these people who had practiced to become demonic magician before restraining herself. If she did that, it was estimated that there would be a lot of troubles waiting for her. It would be unwise to offend the entire world at this juncture, especially with the first rank 7 magician, magic warrior, or a warrior out there. She just had to be patient and continue to practice. Tisk. Not far from Dina's place, Ruth was staying beside the closest crack to City J base. Because Dina was recuperating and didn't make any movement, she took this chance to enter the crack for practice and come out at night. She had just finished fighting a powerful rank 6 magic beast when she sensed the mana fluctuation and came out of the crack. When she saw the mana distortion in the air, Ruth understood what had happened. So someone had taken that step? It's really fast. Only slightly more than a year since the earthquake happened and someone had already reached rank 7. This speed was definitely very fast and could create a record. Because even in that world, it was rare to see such a genius. But upon reaching rank 7, the progress will slow down a lot. Ruth sighed and sat down. Seeing the mana distortion in the air, she was not in the mood to practice. Besides, practicing during this period of time was the same as seeking death. The mana was surging towards one direction, and unless they were already rank 7 or above, they would never be able to compete with it. Anyway, the ceremony would last a few hours at most. Once it was done, the world will return to normal. At that time, practicing would not be hindered at all. All they have to do was to be a bit more patient. The next question is who it is. Ruth muttered to herself and sighed. She only knew that it was definitely not Dina or Murin, nor could it be someone who was on the other side of the world. There were only a few options, and all of them didn't seem to be bad. Because if everyone had to say, everyone is fine to advance to rank 7 except for Murin and Dina from this side. If either one of these two advanced to rank 7 as the first person, then it was estimated that Continent Z would be in chaos. These two people had their own goals and their methods were not exactly what most people could accept. So if they gained the power they wanted while others were still lagging behind, Ruth didn't want to imagine it. She might be only cooperating with Continent Z's officials, but she knew very well that every returnees were only waiting for them to have enough power to overturn the world. Rank 7 was the first step. Thankfully, not all of them have such wild ambitions, and those 3 people were still relatively normal. In this way, Ruth were not that worried. Some distance away. Peter was doing his missions from Martial Arts Association. One had to say that, in terms of doing mission, Peter was really obedient. Of course, that was if one ignored his violent way of beating up the magic beasts and the fact that he would be the one to get the most of the reward. But nevertheless, Peter was really easy to use as a thug by the Martial Arts Association. Even the government also liked Peter's way of doing things. As for the magic beasts' meat, it was treated as payment for Peter's work. What is it, Peter? Peter's assistant saw Peter suddenly stopped and thought that something happened. There's mana distortion. Someone is advancing to rank 7. Peter replied as he looked in one direction. The mana distortion was a bit weak from his position, so he could guess that the distance should be quite far away. In any case, Peter had no intention of coming over to make trouble.